Okay, we're going to get ready to get started. Okay, at this time, I would like to ask our IT professionals to start the audio tape recordings of the regular meeting and to admit any members of the public who have chosen to listen to the meeting online. And I'll pause for confirmation verbally.
Recording has started. The public has been let in.
Thank you. My name is Lisa Washington, and I serve as Interim General Counsel and Assistant Secretary of the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, also known as Atlanta Housing. Before the regular meeting is called to order, please consider the following announcements. We welcome the members of the public who have joined us in person at Roosevelt Hall, located at 660 Atlanta Student Movement Boulevard, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, for this regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Atlanta Housing. We also welcome the members of the public who have joined this meeting via audio conference. There's also an option to view the meeting live streamed. Members of the public can find the link in the notices section on the Atlanta Housing website. The live streaming link is also contained on Atlanta Housing board docs. Please be advised that any members of the public who wish to address the board during the time for public comment period must have signed up on the public speaker sign-up sheet at the front door of the meeting prior to the time the meeting is called to order, or have sent in a comment by the time set in the notice of the meeting. A link to the meeting agenda, board resolutions, and presentation materials are available for review by the public by accessing the link on the Atlanta Housing website at www.atlantahousing.org/notices.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Larry Stewart, and I'm the chair of the Board of Commissioners. I am now calling this regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Housing Authority of Atlanta, Georgia, to order. Today is May 22nd, 2024, and the time is 2:02 p.m. Will the interim general counsel take roll to determine quorum for this meeting?
Chairman Stewart,
Here.
Commissioner Kirsch,
Here.
Commissioner Alvarado, Commissioner Elliott,
Here.
Commissioner Faruqi, Commissioner Hooker,
Here.
Commissioner Martin.
Here.
Mr. Chair, there is an in-person quorum present.
All right. The agenda has been presented to the board for review and comment. Are there any proposed changes to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, there is one proposed change to the agenda. Upon reviewing our notes, we determined that the board intended to have information about Resolution 2424 presented to the board at this regular meeting. Therefore, I recommend the board adopt the agenda with one change, which is to have resolution number 2424 presented for consideration to the board at today's regular meeting.
May I have a motion to adopt the agenda as amended?
So moved. Second.
All right, so moved by Commissioner Elliott and seconded by Commissioner Kirsch. I think beat you to the buzzer, Commissioner Hooker. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing no discussion. All in favor of the motion to adopt the agenda as amended, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. I did not hear any opposition. Are there any abstentions? The motion is carried.
Commissioners, before you are the minutes of the regular Board of Commissioners meeting held on April 24th, 2024, for review and comment. Are there any proposed corrections to the minutes of the regular Board of Commissioners meeting?
All right. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on April 24th, 2024?
Second.
So moved by Commissioner Elliott and seconded by Commissioner Hooker. Is there any discussion related to this motion to approve the minutes of the April 24th, 2024 meeting? Hearing no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Hearing all ayes. I don't hear any opposition or abstentions. The motion is carried. All right. Before I say this long piece, Do we have anyone
Yes,
that
Mr.
is on
Yes,
the-
Mr. Chair,
There
we
we
do.
go. Perfect. All right, so I will say it as it's intended. Members of the public who wish to address the board signed up on the public speaker sign-up sheet as they entered the meeting. Each speaker who has signed up will be called to the podium and will have 3 minutes to address the board. After those members of the public who are here to speak finish, we will read any questions received in advance via telephone or email. Have any members of the public signed up to speak?
Mr. Chair, we've had 2 members of the public sign up to speak. So we'll start with the first member of the public who signed up, which is, and apologize if I mispronounce the name, it's Miss Halima Guys. Yes, Ms. Guys, if you'd like to come forward to the podium. You have 3 minutes to address the board. Yes, yes, ma'am.
While
Keys.
she's,
Oh, thank you very much. I apologize.
while she's coming to the podium, I will recognize Commissioner Faruqi has joined us.
Hi, my name's Halima Aziz. I've been a member of this community for about almost 9 years now. I did live in Magnolia Park Apartments. I moved from there under domestic violence. We did a domestic violence transfer to escape my ex-husband. We moved to Castleberry Hills. But to make a long story short, I was having an issue where I was being accused of owing some back rent over $7,000. I paid rent every month, was a good tenant, never had any issue. I came to one of your board meetings last year, and I met Mr. Morgan, he's here today, and his boss at that time, her name was Terry Lee, I think she's the president now. She wasn't the president then. She intervened and got her people on top of my case. They found my ledger. They found out that I didn't owe any of that money. They also found out that I had been up under something called RAD. They gave me a Section 8 voucher. We just moved into our house May 1st, never lived in a house before. And I just want to say thank you. It's also a lady named Ms. Walker as well. I can't think of her name, but I just want to thank Ms. Terry Lee. I want to thank her staff, Ms. Walker and Mr. Morgan. They helped me, they listened to me, they didn't have to. Had they not listened to me, nobody would have knew that I really didn't owe $7,000 and we would have got evicted and we would have been on the streets. But because she intervened, stopped me, saw me in the hallway last year, stopped me, intervened and listened and actually believed me, I was able to prove my case. And that was unheard of because I was sitting at home crying and I did not know how I was going to prove my case. I was calling HUD, I calling board member, I was calling no board member here, but from Fulton County somewhere, nobody would listen to me. They did not care. And for her to stop me in the hallway, I didn't even know who she was at that time. Congratulations, because when I found out you got promoted, you actually really deserve that. I've never met anybody that's in those type of positions that would stop to just speak to a regular person like me. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, because had you not intervened, we would be homeless. And I know Atlanta Housing goal is to keep people from being homeless. And y'all actually found out that I was telling the truth. My ex-husband come home in June. The judge said that he was going to still try to kill me because he was mad, because he felt like I was the reason that he was in prison. So we probably would be homeless and end up running into him somewhere. No, God knows what would have happened. So I just want to say thank you for listening to me and stopping that day, because you didn't have to do it. And to Mr. Morgan, God bless you, Mr. Morgan. I think you're in the back somewhere. And Ms. Walker, I don't know her first name, but she helped me throughout the process as well. So if you guys see her, tell her from Ms. Aziz, and to all of you, Ms. Lee, thank you so kindly. You really deserve that promotion. Thank you.
All right, I didn't have emotional response on my bingo card today, so thank you so much for those kind words, and I certainly want to say for the record, I think that's Shannon Walker, who she's referring to, so thank you so much. Lisa, anyone else?
Did Miss English want to make remarks? Maybe not. Okay. So we have no other members of the public who have signed to speak, nor have we received any remarks prior to the meeting to present to the board.
All right. Well, thank you for this. Will conclude public comment, and thank you for those words. All right, we're going to keep moving so that we don't get any more touched today. No more tears. Yeah, absolutely. That was nice. Thank you. Thank you. Please be advised, all right, that I'm going to now go into our consent agenda protocol. So please be advised that at the Board of Commissioners September 22nd, 2021 meeting, the board approved a consent agenda protocol. With the amendment to the agenda made earlier, there are now 3 resolutions appearing below that receive unanimous votes of approval at the Board of Commissioners Real Estate Committee held on May 15th, 2024, and 2 resolutions that receive unanimous votes of approval at the Board of Commissioners Operations meeting held on May 15th, 2024. The collective group of resolutions on the consent agenda will be approved by a single motion to adopt all resolutions and the affirmative majority vote of the Board of Commissioners. If discussion on any resolution or resolutions is desired by a commissioner, the commissioner must make that desire known to the chair immediately following the reading of the consent agenda items, and the resolution will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately or at the discretion of the chair. A discussion may occur prior to the vote of the consent agenda resolutions. Moreover, if a commissioner simply wants to have his or her vote to be specifically recorded on any particular item, separate votes may be taken on the resolutions. Will the interim general counsel identify the 5 resolutions on the consent agenda for the record?
Commissioners, before you are the copies of the following consent agenda resolutions. Resolution number 2422, the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, seeks authorization to extend the HomeFlex Assistance Agreement for Columbia Mechanicsville Crossing. Resolution number 2429, the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, seeks authorization of revised loan terms to take all actions necessary to consummate the closing of Inglewood Multifamily Phase 1A. Resolution number 2430, the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, seeks approval to revise business terms and complete the financial and acquisition closings of the developments known as 1, the Villas at Stonehogen, and 2, the Flats at Stonehogen, both located at 0 Continental Colony Parkway, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia. Resolution number 2431, the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, seeks Board of Commissioners approval to enter into a new contract with Workday, Inc. for human resources information software. And resolution number 2432, the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, seeks authorization to enter into an amendment to the contract with Yardi Systems, Inc. for the provision of key information technology software.
All right. May I have a motion to consider, adopt, and approve the consent agenda containing resolutions 2422, 2429, 2430, 2431, and 2432?
So moved.
Move second.
All right, so we have was so moved by Commissioner Faruqi and seconded by Commissioner Martin. Are there any discussion related to the consent agenda resolutions? All right, hearing no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried.
Okay, Commissioners, before you is a copy of the resolution number 2423, where the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, seeks authorization to extend the HomeFlex Assistance Agreement for Columbia Mechanicsville Station.
All right, may I have a motion to consider resolution 2423?
So moved.
Second.
All right, so moved by Commissioner Kirsch and seconded by Commissioner Hooker. And this is not Robin that's right in front of me, this is Trish, but I will let whomever is going to present now.
Well, Robin is really going to present. I'm just here representing Shannon Walker, our SVP for Real Estate Operations, who is unable to be here today. And this is just a resolution to do an extension of the HomeFlex agreement. I'm going to let Robin talk you through just the details. I know you heard it earlier. Robin?
Sounds good.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I am Robin McCrary, and I am the Director of Real Estate Asset Management. And here I am presenting a request or seeking authorization to extend the HomeFlex agreement for Columbia Mechanicsville Station. So just the current agreement status is that the agreement and the current board authorization expires on June 14th, 2024. And so I'm seeking authorization to extend the HomeFlex contract for an additional 20 years. Just to kind of give you an overview of the property, the owner is Mechanicsville Apartments Phase 4 LP, which is an affiliate of Columbia Residential. It is Phase 1 of a 6-phase home Hope 6 redevelopment of McDaniel Glen. The property manager is AHP Management Corporation, which is an affiliate of Columbia Residential. It's a family community, and it's located in Mechanicsville area, MPUV. The council member is Jason Dozier. The next slide will be a picture of the property. Next slide is the property unit mix. The property consists of both HomeFlex and public housing units for a total of 98 AH assisted units. Total units at the property is 164 units. Next slide is just talking about the household served. And so the total household members there is 28 households. That means there are 7 vacant units there. And we're currently have a total of 69 household members. And the majority of those household members are at 30% AMI or below. The property performance results. The property has NOI of about $359,000, OPEX per unit of just under $10,000. They passed all of their physical inspection scores, so very good condition. Business process review was acceptable. MTW benchmarks, 80% in occupancy which is below our threshold, and rent delinquency at 50%, which is below our threshold, and the other benchmarks were met. The next slide is just talking about the overall impact to the agency, the property's impact to the agency. So this is just talking about the property was previously slated to convert under RAD. The RAD was delayed just due to investor issues. The investor has since been bought out, and so the current owner is looking to reposition the property and revisit that conversation. On the next slide, kind of getting into that 80% occupancy benchmark that was missed. With that, that was just due to the relocation assistance that was done for the Eastlake residents. And we're still expecting to see similar results due to the Cosby Spear rat relocation. The 50% rent delinquency, this was attributed to the age-assisted units. The total dollar amount is about $84,000 or just about $85,000, and it's 14 residents that are impacted. Management is working closely with residents to connect them to resources to help them pay for past due rents. Just open it up for any questions.
Thank you, Robin. If I could, wow, the mics really worked. But if I could, this was the resolution that there was a question about the inspection on the property. I believe we were to get the results that very same day, and so the results came in.
I think it's the next one.
Oh, that's the next one.
So what happened here was we said the wrong
Jumping
one
ahead.
and we pulled out the wrong one to do this review for. So we are doing both, even though this was the one that should have stayed on the consent agenda. The next one is the one that you're about to give that feedback for.
So I think you just wanted to hear more of our good work.
We wanted Robin to talk to us a little bit extra today.
Absolutely.
Since she's welcoming herself to us. But yes, so hold that thought, and I'll let anyone else have any questions.
Although we didn't intend to have this heard, I do think we had a pretty robust discussion at Real Estate Committee about this being the 50% delinquency not being unique to this property, and it being a challenge that lots of properties are grappling with, and one that we're going to perhaps have a longer conversation on in another forum, and how we make sure we're keeping folks, safely and stably housed while also addressing what's really a more systemic challenge, I think, across properties. So since we got to hear it, thought I would point that out for the benefit of those in the room. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right, hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried.
Okay, Commissioners, before you is a copy of Resolution Number 2424, where the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia seeks authorization to extend the HomeFlex Assistance Agreement at the Peaks at MLK.
All right, may I have a motion to consider Resolution 2424? All right, so moved by Commissioner Elliott and seconded by Commissioner Faruqi. Robin, you are back on the microphone. And Terry, stand by.
So just going quickly through the presentation, I think we're all familiar with this one, but we're seeking authorization to extend the agreement for a term of 5 years. It is set to expire on May 31st. Peaks at MLK is a standalone HomeFlex community, meaning there's no AH investment outside of the HomeFlex agreement. The owner is Peaks at MLK Pines and Peaks at MLK HP, which are tenants in common and affiliate of the Robert Wolf Group. The property is a family property, and it's located in MPUI, and the council member is Andrea Boone. The next picture is next slide is just a picture of the property. The property consists of 1, 2s, and 3-bedroom units, of total of 183 units, of which 73 are assisted by AH through the HomeFlex program. Next slide just tells about households. 68 households, 68 occupied units for 5 vacant units, a total of 156 household members there, majority of which are below the 30% AMI income level. And for the property performance results, NOI is $732,000. The OPEX is just under $8,000. They passed the physical inspection scores, and they had an unacceptable business process review. And so this was the item that was in question. There were 2 major findings that were noted during the business process review process, and there were deficiencies with the EIV identification, and there was a resident that had multiple subsidy, meaning they had subsidy from Atlanta Housing and some other housing authority. And so since the last week's presentation, these business process items have been cured. And so the other items, MTW benchmarks, just missed occupancy by a few percentage points. We have some more details about that there. Rent delinquency is just below what our threshold of 2% is. Emergency work orders, work compliance, and routine work orders are meeting our thresholds. The 93% occupancy, which is on the next slide, this is just attributed to, still reserving, trying to reserve units in anticipation for resident relocation for the upcoming RAD conversions. But at the beginning of May, they did ramp up to about 97%, so their occupancy is pretty good there. And I'll open it up for any questions you may have.
You want to start? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Robin. Again, this item, there was a question from the board last week in reference to the status of the inspection and the property review. At the conclusion of this meeting, it was determined that the property did pass, and we wanted to bring it back to the board for an update.
So it did pass, so they cured all the outstanding items?
That's correct, sir.
Okay, all right. And so maybe we want to update that for the record. If we put this part in there, we may want to update that just so that no one is confused.
Okay.
All right.
Absolutely,
Any other
thank you.
questions or?
I just wanted to make a comment and recommendation, and just for the benefit of the full board, particularly our resident commissioners who weren't there at the real estate committee meeting. We had a discussion about what's the best way to get updates on inspections in general. Because if I channel Commissioner Elliott, at least in particular, who has raised awareness at the board level as well as at the leadership level of some of the state of disrepair sometimes that these properties are in, or when we, enter into an agreement and a contract, they don't do the work based on what they have committed to. And given that, we are ultimately the ones who need to hold them accountable, both in terms of making sure that they complete the work and do it to the standard that they have, they're contractually obligated to. And 2, as this agency continues to award work in the future, that their past performance and their partnership is reflected in the decisions that we make. So I think we had determined that the operations committee has purview over getting those updates in a quarterly manner, but I would also recommend that the full board of commissioners either once a year or twice a year, gets a comprehensive summary of where that stands. So I will leave it to you to figure out what's the best way to format that or present that. But let's sort of continue to keep this top of mind because, it comes up episodically when we're trying to award an agreement. So appreciate the update today, and Robin, nice job.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? If not, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. And at this time, I will turn it over to our President and CEO if she has a report.
Good afternoon. To our Atlanta Housing Board of Commissioners, as well as our team members that are present here, and the general public who's joining us in person as well as online, I am pleased to serve as the President and CEO of Atlanta Housing. And again, my name is Terry Lee. Next slide, please. Today's board action, the work of this board, continues to furthers the goals that we're making under our strategic plan. Specifically, Goals 1 and Goals 6 are covered by the 7 resolutions that were presented today. For Goal 1, we're moving forward with the creation and preservation of 10,000 units by the end of 2027. Today's actions actually identified an additional 1,159 units that we'll be placing in the market, be it creation and or preservation, of which we'd have about an 82% affordability. We're creating about 952 units of affordability. From an investment aspect, the total development cost of the actions taken today is about $255 million. Atlanta Housing, through our resources, are investing $13 million from a capital investment standpoint. And for the 3 resolutions that dealt with Home Flex, we're actually making an initial investment of $1.1 million on an annual basis. And keep in mind that investment may escalate by 3% each year. Next slide, please. I'm sorry, same slide. Go back to the same slide for Goal 6. Under Strengthen Operations, there were 2 resolutions that were taken within the Operations Committee, which focused on technology upgrades. One would be technology upgrades for our Yardi system, which will really help us with our compliance functions as HUD is switching several of their systems and transitioning to new technology over the next several months. The second was a technology upgrade to our human resource system, Workday. We're adding additional modules that will help us with training as well as enhancing our efficiencies in serving our personnel through the technology system. And so what we want to make sure of is that each time we're coming before the board, that we're literally identifying how the actions taken further the activities that were approved by this board within our strategic plan. Next slide, please. I would also like to highlight a few activities that we've been able to participate in as a team over the last month. If we go clockwise, we were fortunate enough as a part of AH Green Day initiatives to host the Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary, known as the PDAS, Monacchio, with a sustainable roundtable. With that sustainable roundtable, HUD was able to provide us with several updates that are coming forth over the next several months, as well as speak to their sustainability and clean energy initiatives. We were joined by at least 5 housing authorities. We were joined by the Housing Authority of College Park, East Point Fairburn, as well as DeKalb County, Palmetto, and Union City. I would like to thank our chairman as well as Commissioner Alvarado for joining us in those discussions. The next picture represents the Seniors Farmers Market that we hosted on May 16th at the Civic Center. Our partners included the City of Atlanta Mayor's Office, as well as City Council members and United Healthcare. I am pleased to report to our Board of Commissioners that we served over 200 seniors on that day with fresh food and with fresh fruits as well as fresh vegetables. And as we continue to aggressively move forward with our development activity, we decided to do something a little different. You may recall within the strategic plan, we identified the 356 acres of land that we have in 3 different tiers. Tier 1 will be properties that were either under a master development agreement or we were moving forward pretty quickly to enter into a master development agreement. Tier 2 were properties that we would move forward with a request for proposals within the plan year in order to make sure that we could move forward and expedite development. But Tier 3 were those parcels that we were not quite sure was still suitable for housing, simply because of the nature of the environment or the neighborhood surrounding the parcels. One of those parcels in particular is Bankhead. Bankhead Course is a 35-acre site along down Lee Hollowell, and it's west of our Bowen Home site. That area which borders the Chattahoochee is really becoming very industrial. And so as we move forward with rethinking and reimagining what Bankhead Course could be, we decided to do a request for ideas. It's the very first time as an authority that we've done a request for ideas in order to really think outside the box as to what the potential of that site could be. We're expecting all responses in by sometime in June, and we'll be pleased to share the results with this board. And then I'm really excited to announce the groundbreaking of Phase 1 of the former public housing site of Inglewood. That groundbreaking is actually tomorrow at 9 a.m., and we welcome all of you to join us, as well as everyone who's listening, because we're excited. Inglewood is a project that has long been in the making. It's located in Chosewood neighborhood and literally borders the Beltline. And so we at Atlanta Housing are placing affordable housing on the Beltline. The first phase will be 160 units of senior rental housing, which represents about 17% of the total unit count that will go on that particular site over the next 7 to 10 years. But we're excited. This is a project that's been long in the making, and we're looking forward to not just the groundbreaking for tomorrow, but we're looking forward to closing Phase 2 this summer. I would like to bring back to the board's remembrance, though. So if you, and Commissioner Kirsch, you know this very well, we've always talked about the need for infrastructure funding, and that while our dollars are to help with the capital funding to help subsidize the development aspect, that there was a need for infrastructure. The only reason we were able to jumpstart Inglewood is because the City of Atlanta invested $15 million in the infrastructure for that site, and that investment was through the Housing Opportunity Bond. I am pleased to report that we broke ground on infrastructure improvements last September, and to date we've expended all of the city's dollars, and so we will be going back for more to support our redevelopment efforts. Next slide, please. We also wanted to share a few upcoming events with the Board of Commissioners, and these events will be placed on your calendars. One, we have our Juneteenth celebration at the Civic Center for all of our residents that reside in AH-owned properties or our former AH-owned properties that have converted to RAD. Later that evening, we will be hosting a Civic Center community engagement event at the Civic Center. We decided, because we'll already have the site set up, we wanted to take advantage of the staging and be able to invite the community as well as stakeholders in to get an update on the Civic Center. And that update would include a conversation with our development partners as well as the city. We also will have, there is a young lady who won a contest to do a historic mural. And so she would display a digital mural that evening, on the Civic Center wall. So we're really excited about that event. And then we also will host this month our jurisdiction-wide council meeting for our resident association officers. This is really important because the issues that Commissioner Elliott as well as Commissioner Martin have raised actually are discussed at those meetings, but we're doing more than discussing them. We're really trying to reach forward with resolution so that we can make sure our residents receive the services that they absolutely deserve. I would like to take a point of privilege. There's been a lot of media coverage over the last 2 days in reference to an action that the Atlanta City Council took on Monday in regards to the Civic Center. Just to make sure the board is aware, simply put, what that action was, the City Council approved for the City of Atlanta to enter into a programmatic agreement with Atlanta Housing and the state's Historic Preservation Office in order to expedite the historic preservation review of the Civic Center. This is a similar programmatic agreement that we've had with the city in other areas, but specifically because the Civic Center is such a critical and important and large-scale project, we want to take every measure we can to expedite and move forward quickly. And so that's literally what the action was. The vote from the City Council not only allowed us to move forward with the MOU with the state and the city, but it also, quite honestly, reaffirmed the project and the efforts we're taking moving forward. So I just wanted to make sure that the board heard from me exactly what that action was and the media coverage that we received over the last couple of days. Next slide, please. I would be remiss if I didn't thank you for your continued service, and I'm available to address any questions or comments that you may have.
Okay. Sounds like you did a thorough job and nobody has any questions. So we appreciate that. We certainly have been looking forward to hearing kind of a good summary of what's happening. And so this is fantastic. I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
The diligence in putting some of that together. So,
Right.
all right. I'm going to
Awesome.
let
Thank you.
that be the case. All right. Thank you. Are there any comments from commissioners in general?
I just wanted to make one comment/announcement. At the next Finance and Audit Committee meeting, we will be reviewing our Atlanta Housing Proposed Budget. And because that meeting is actually being held not on a Wednesday, as it typically is, it is scheduled on a Thursday, June 20th at 11:15. I wanted to invite all of the commissioners of the board to attend if they would like, because there will be a good conversation about the budget before we have an opportunity to review it one more time and approve it in the Board of Commissioners meeting. So I just wanted to note that for the record and also for those who would like to participate. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? All right.
I want to thank Atlanta Housing for putting on the event at the Harlem Boys and Girls Club for the seniors that Terry was talking about earlier. And although she said it was 200 seniors, I think it was more than that in the room. We are thankful, and I know the seniors are, I'm speaking on their behalf. The fruits and vegetables were wonderful, but the fellowship was wonderful. Just to be able to sit around and see each other again and talk to one another and talk about our different communities. Thank you very much.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Well, we'll keep this thing rolling. I have nothing further to add. Thank you for the conciseness of today, and we will look forward to seeing you guys next month. You saw some of those events, and so for those in the public who are watching, we certainly, where appropriate, would love for you guys to join us as well. And I will now ask, if there's no further business, to have a motion to adjourn the meeting. All right, so moved by Commissioner Elliott and seconded by Commissioner Faruqi. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. All right, I'm pretty sure I didn't hear any nays. So the meeting is adjourned. The time is 2:38. Also, for those who are on the, I think our Atlanta Affordable Housing for the Future Board, you guys stick around. Everyone else is dismissed.
Okay, we're going to get started in a moment with the Atlanta Affordable Housing for the Future, Inc. special meeting. Okay, we're going to get started with the meeting for the special meeting of the Atlanta Affordable Housing for the Future, Inc. Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask our IT professionals to start the audio tapes, or I should say continue the audio tape recordings, to record the special meeting of the Board of Directors of Atlanta Affordable Housing for the Future, Inc., and to admit any members of the public who've chosen to listen to the meeting online. And I'll give a moment for the confirmation.
Recording has started. The public has been let in.
Thank you. My name is Lisa Washington, and I serve as Assistant Secretary of Atlanta Affordable Housing for the Future, Inc., and Interim General Counsel of the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, also known as Atlanta Housing. Before the special meeting is called to order, please consider the following announcements. We welcome the members of the public who have joined us in person at Roosevelt Hall, located at 660 Atlanta Student Movement Boulevard, Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia, for this special meeting of the Board of Directors of Atlanta Affordable Housing for the Future, Inc. We also welcome members of the public who have joined this meeting via audio conference. There's also an option to view the meeting live stream. Members of the public can find the link in the notices section of the Atlanta Housing website. Access to the live stream is also available by accessing the link in the notices section entitled Atlanta Housing Board Docs. Please be advised that any members of the public who wish to address this board during the time for public comment must have signed up on the public speaker sign-up sheet at the front door of the meeting prior to the time this meeting was called to order, or have sent in a comment by the time set in the notice of the meeting. The live streaming link, copies of the meeting agenda, and board resolution are available for view by the public by accessing the link on the Atlanta Housing website at www.atlantahousing.org/notices. On behalf of the President of Atlanta Affordable Housing for the Future, Inc., I'm calling this special meeting of the Board of Directors to order. Today is Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024, and the time is 2:43 p.m. I will now take roll to determine a quorum for this meeting. Director Stewart?
Here.
Director Kirsch?
Here.
Director Alvarado? Director Alvarado? Director Faruqi?
Here.
Director Lee? Here. There is a quorum present. The agenda has been presented to the board for review and comment. Are there any proposed changes to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, may I have a motion to adopt the agenda? And a second?
So moved.
So moved by Director Stewart and seconded by Director Faruqi. Is there any discussion? Hearing no further discussion, I'll call for a vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed indicate by saying nay. Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Directors, before you is a copy of Resolution AAHFI, or AFI 2401, seeking approval to complete the financial and acquisition closings of the developments known as the Villas at Stonehogen and the Flats at Stonehogen, both located at 0 Continental Colony Parkway, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia. May I have a motion to consider Resolution AFI 2401 in a second?
Still moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Stewart and seconded by Director Kirsch. And I'll just briefly present the resolution. This resolution is a companion resolution to the resolution that was just passed by the Atlanta Housing Board of Commissioners, Resolution 2430. This will help facilitate authorization for Atlanta Housing for the Future, Inc., Atlanta Affordable Housing for the Future, Inc., to sign documents necessary to facilitate the closing for the Flats at Stonehogen and the Villas at Stonehogen. Atlanta Affordable Housing for the Future, Inc. will be a member of the general partner entity, and will sign the operating agreement for that entity. And this our resolution provides authorization to the president of AFI, who is Terry Lee, also our president and CEO of Atlanta Housing, with the necessary authority to sign those documents, and is otherwise identical to the resolution previously passed by the board for Flats and Villas at Stonehogen. So I'm happy to take any questions you might have. Okay. So if hearing no discussion or questions, All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is carried. There were no public comments nor members of the public signed up to speak, to address this board. So if there's no further business, the board may have a motion to adjourn the meeting. In a second.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved by Director Stewart and seconded by Director Kirsch. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? The meeting is adjourned. It is 2:46 p.m.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.